So, projects. You are all in a project, a compute project, namely this one for the course, but you may or may not also be in a different project, or maybe you will be creating one or joining one. So you need to be a member of a compute project to have an account at HPC2N. If you are a PhD student or above, you can apply for a project yourself, and otherwise, at least the other centers, if you need to apply for larger projects, you generally need to be a senior researcher or something. But for regular projects, you can apply as a PhD student. And there are both storage projects and compute projects. The compute project has default storage of 500 gigabyte, and you can say that you need that. And if that is enough, then that is fine. If it's not, then you also can apply for a storage project. You cannot have a storage project without a compute project. Yeah, and then a repeat of needing the PI to be local. But the members can be from anywhere on the planet. So to apply for a project, you go to Super, and maybe the easiest thing is that I simply do that. So it looks like this here. And if it's at one of the other centers, the ones that have resources that are directly under NICE, then you use one of these here. The small ones are open all the time. The medium projects are also open all the time, but are only evaluated once a month, and you need to be assistant professor. This you can apply for as a PhD student. The large compute projects are open twice a year for application to those, and you need you need to write a longer abstract, have a very good reason in order to get this. Usually, it is recommended to get a small project and then a medium one, and then if that is not enough, you can apply for a larger one. Also, in general, it's recommended to, if your center has a local, if you have local resources, use those first, and then use nice resources if the local resources are not enough. So it's sort of how to start out here. Yes, you have a question.
Yes, hi. My name is Emka. I'm just wondering, how do I know what a small and what a medium project is?
It sort of depends on the center, but you can go and see how much it is. It's mainly how many resources you can get. And well, here it tells you how much you can apply for. So if you were, for instance, on Tetralit and wanted a small project, you cannot get more than 20 core hours per month. And there will be descriptions on each of these, how much you can apply for. And yeah, there are no rounds open right now of the big ones. But if you go to the local compute project, and this is where you would go if you want a project at Kebnekaise. So you go here, and then you find HPC2N, go through HPC2N local, and then you can see that at HPC2N, we don't really have it divided into small, medium, and large. Here you would instead apply for a smaller amount, maybe in the beginning, and then when you need more, you can do a project extension or whatever and continuation, and then apply for a larger one also for the local ones. And one thing to pay attention to is that Kebnekaise has CPUs, GPUs, and large memory divided up here. So you needed to apply for all of them if you needed all of them. If you need the GPUs, you must apply for the GPU resource. But you should also always apply for the CPUs because you will probably almost always need a little bit of that. So what you would do is you create a new proposal, and now I was not logged in, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And in general, I think you would probably log in with federated identity. And here you pick your university. And then I have two-factor authentication turned on. I don't think anyone has that by default unless they are staff. But if you are, then you need to use this. Otherwise, it will not ask here. But now I am then logged in here, as you can see. And then it looks like this. And the rounds that you go to here was the page you otherwise got to. And here you say compute rounds, local compute, HPC2N local compute. And then let's go ahead and create a proposal. It tells you if you have existing proposals, which I have because I have a lot of course projects. And then it tells you, oh, check, are you actually meeting the requirements and things like this. But then you can create a proposal either from scratch, or if you have a proposal before, then you create one based on that. And if you are making a continuation, you would go with that. So you click here and you pick the one that you are going to make changes to, for instance. But if you wanted to create a new one, you would simply give it a name by create project, create new proposal. And then there are things here to fill out. You can check that your information is correct, which it usually will be. You need to make sure that your email address is kept up to date so we can contact you. You can edit basic information, and here is where you put some information about the project. For instance, maybe you have a web page and you need to write a short abstract in order to apply. Just say something about what your project is about and give some information about what resource you need. For instance, I want this software. Maybe it's not installed, but can I get that installed? And you list if you have specific hardware requirements, storage, and things like this. Then you go ahead and pick duration. 1 year is the default. You can pick shorter if you want to, but not longer. And then you say, when do you want it to start? If you don't put a date, it will be as soon as possible. If it's a continuation, maybe you don't want it to start until the other one ends. And then you say, yes, my co-investigator may view if you want that, which you probably do, and then save changes. Then there is classification. You need to provide scientific classification, and that is simply telling it which area is it in. And there's this standard here where you can find what they are. Well, it's a long list of them, but it should be somewhere here, yes. So maybe you are studying algebra and logic, then you would pick this number here. Or maybe you're under computer science and you pick one of these. So that is the classification you put here. Is it a continuation? If it is, then say yes. It's not registered as that here because I simply picked new proposal. And when the project is created, you can add members and you can also add co-investigators, search for people that you want to have the same rights as you to maybe help with editing the project or help with adding members and things like this. There are also resources. And you would pick, for instance, regular Kebnekaise, add resource. Then it tells you some information and it suggests, do you want 20 core hours, which is the default for a beginner? It tells you that you may apply for up to 100 core hours, K core hours per month. Of course, note that it is not an absolute. You can run more. It's just that your priority goes down when you use more than that. It says, do you want some default storage? And I'm going to say yes. I think that 500 gigabytes is fine. And then it says, do you want to name it something or do you want to accept the default name? If it's a continuation, there would also be the option to pick that you want to keep the name that you had for your storage directory before. And you should always do that if it's a continuation, because that means you don't need to copy anything. You will just keep the same directory with your material in. And then say, I also want GPUs. So I'm going to go and get that. And it tells me I cannot ask for more than 1,000. And it just suggests me 20. I'm just going to accept the 20. And I already have default storage, so I don't need extra. And now it is telling me you accepted the default directory name because I did. And if I don't want to submit this proposal, then I can click cancel. If I want to submit it, I would just click submit here. I'm going to cancel it. Well, okay. I think that means we probably covered this here. When you have both a computer and a storage project, you need to link them. Well, you don't need to, but it makes it a lot easier for you because that means that anyone who is a member of your compute project automatically becomes a member of the storage project. And you link people from the storage project. So when you have both, you simply go into the storage project and there you pick link compute project, search for which one, and then when it pops up, you can just pick that one and then it adds the members. So, but it's only for that situation. Otherwise, you don't need to do that. Then when you do have a project, or if you have become a member of a project, you need super accounts for both. Then you can apply for a account at Kebnekaise, and you do that in this area here on super. So you pick accounts, and here it tells you which accounts you have. And if you can apply for accounts, it tells you here as well. And here you can also see a list of your accounts and your username, which is quite useful because, well, you can have different ones at different centers and maybe you can't remember what you were called there. So, okay, let's go back and continue to logging.